Hello, I'm Julia Cordova. Thank you so much for subscribing to my YouTube channel and liking my videos. I really appreciate it. So this is the second time I'm recording the video because it's been thunderstorming a lot here lately, and Jada, one of my dogs, gets under my desk every time it thunderstorms, and she just randomly disconnects things and I don't realize until after. But it's okay because this time's going to be better. Anyway, so last week I was looking for three things that I thought would be sort of an early warning sign that would let us know the market was reversing, and we didn't get any of those three things. But this week we got one. We got RTY, or small caps, closing above the 9 daily MA. Now it only did that 2 days in a row on Thursday and Friday, but nevertheless I think that is potentially possibly a good sign. It also had a higher high and a higher low, but on the daily chart it does look like a bear flag. So I'll outline there what the breakdown level is or what the false flag level is, and we can go from there. However, one other thing I was looking at was Tesla. It did not get back into the pink channel that I wanted it to get back into. It didn't even get close. But I know you don't remember this. I remember this. It's burned into my brain. I was petrified out of my mind. The first time I ever shorted Tesla was at $650. Everybody told me I was crazy. It ended up going down 10% in like 3 days. So yay, me, I did really well on it. But 650 is a really important level. It is burned into my brain because of that. So because we closed above we breached below and then closed above 650 on Friday for Tesla, I think that is potentially a very good sign. But Nasdaq has some work to do. So let's talk about charts. You ready? Whoop. All right. Okay, so let me just bring up the ES weekly here. So we are still in the channel here. Boy, Friday was an intense day, right? I tried to buy it here. I thought this was the perfect place to buy it. I was kind of excited, but there still wasn't a whole lot of panic. So it just had to get even lower, all the way almost so close to my orange line here before, at the end of the day, just zippity-ippity up. And I had texted a couple people. I'm like, I think it's going to close flat. But then I was like, I'm crazy. But it did. So yay. Anyway, so it doesn't look like the most constructive candle, but I still like it. It did close just ever so slightly above that kind of 39.10 area previous gap resistance. So it has some work to do, but as long as it stays above 38.50 this week, then I think potentially we're going to go up to this next gap, 40.10 area. So basically there's 100 points here as long as it doesn't go below 38.50. 38.50 I think is a good place to take a risk there, only because it's a double support, but below 38.15.50, no bueno again, and probably super no bueno. But okay, let's go level to level here. Let's look at Nasdaq. We were in this channel forever. We've been in this channel for feels like ever. But the good news is when we bounced on Friday, we didn't just get back above. That would have been like, but we got back above the orange line and we got back above this blue line. Super important blue line. Super important and super important. It goes up and they're almost horizontal, which the flatter the slope, the stronger that I think it is. I know that's weird, but that's just true. If it's a flat line, it's strongest. But if it's just ever so slightly up, then a back test should theoretically, if it holds, be a good sign. So anyway, we did close back above it. Now this whole amalgamation of lines, by the way, I was so proud of myself for using that word in Substack. Yay. Anyway, it's basically from the blue line all the way up to the top of this gap. It's about a 100-point range. It's about from 11,800 or so to 11,900-ish. If it can work its way through that amalgamation of lines, then I think it'll look constructive. For me, it just has to get above this 12,403.50. Now, people would say, why are you looking at a descending line to tell you whether or not something might go up more? That's weird. But it's because on the way up here, look how good this line is. If it closes above, yay. If it doesn't, nay. And here, didn't close above, closed above, back tested. Doesn't mean, by the way, it doesn't mean it can't go lower, but as long as it closes above, that's a very good sign for moving forward, at least, that it could potentially have some progress, right? Right. So here, for example, bounce, come back, not closed below, not good sign, has to now close back above. Does that make sense? I think it makes sense. All right, now let's look at the hourly. Okay, excuse me. So we closed right underneath this gap before. So we have some work to do on ES. We also have some, basically it didn't get above that level where I thought it would squeeze if it got above. So we're just going to have to work through this level. We did have some divergence here, which maybe it's gone already because of this huge thing on Friday, but let's see. Same divergence happened in NQ, which was a little bit of a sign, but it also has this gap to work through. This area that I originally bought last week overnight and then tried again, 11,767. I've still got this marked here, even though it's last week's pivot, just because they tend to be sort of important. So let's see what happens if we have a little bit of a back test this week. We'll watch that. All right, now as far as RTY goes, small caps, we've had bear flag after bear flag on the weekly, and then finally we have a higher high and a higher low. It's a fat doji, right? It's red, but you know, it's more constructive than other kinds of candles that would be worse. It's still down for the week, and it's still on the daily potentially a bear flag. So watching 1769.1 on Sunday/Monday, that's the daily pivot, and below those 1705.6, I'm gonna say no bueno. So it needs to not do that. And if it gets above 1846.5 Sunday/Monday, that is a double resistance, so it might not. That would be also like, wow, huge. But anyway, if it gets above there, then I think potentially it could start squeezing. Otherwise, it's going to have to contend with this down sloping pink line as we go, and so we'll just watch that. On the daily, 1757.5 is the area to watch. It's a little bit below this, 1769. So we'll figure it out. All right, now let's look at Bitcoin. All right, so I drew in these circles because I'm a little bit concerned. I'm still in it. I'm still like, I'm not doing anything. I'm just zenned the F out. But anyway, I thought to myself, Sal, this looks a lot like this. So I drew in a pink line to give me sort of clues. And if it has trouble getting above the pink line, then I'm probably going to just take profit. If it gets below this low, then I will take the loss. So that's the way I'm looking at it. I think there's a really good opportunity for nice risk reward there. Won't be too concerned if it gets down here. That's all right. Then we'll get it lower. All right, now let's look at Ethereum. It's just chopping along. Not much to say. It looks like a bear pennant. So it's really just consolidating, and we'll have to see. There was some RSI support here, it bounced off of, and so it's just in the middle. All right, let's look at Doge. Ugh. I love you, Doge, but oh my goodness. Anyway, it's right up against, as I'm talking here, it's about 8.5 cents, and so it is right up against an RSI resistance. It needs to get above 9 cents to get above this resistance and to get going upwards. But that's it for now. Let's look at GDX, gold miners. Okay, so if you read my Substack, you found out that I was going to double at 30.42 this week, which I did. Then I got rid of a little bit of it because I did it GDXU wise. So I was just paranoid. It was really going up. So anyway, I took profit on a little bit of that. And this week it back tested 30.43, just 1 cent above this pivot. So A+ for me for knowing that is a very important level. And really, it looks pretty good. Okay, it's not out of the woods yet. Really, 30.27 has been the long-term key for the longest time, and it really needs to hold that this week. At a minimum, close above that. Even though that's lower, I'd still be okay with that as long as it closes above it. As far as the swing trade goes. And I have got it now as one of my swing trades, so I'm just going to let it be unless it gets back below this low, because then it's probably going much lower. Okay, this key is a double resistance this week, 32.77, so that'll be hard to get through. If it does get through, probably means it's going up to this next gap, so that might be a really good scalp if it can get above and hold above 32.77 if you're not already doing something. All right, let's look at gold. All right, so we talked about gold last week maybe being a back test to this giant triangle, and it came down again and made a lower low. It was challenging me with all I had, but good news is we had this 1788.9 in, and really it was a beautiful buy there. I was real pleased. So for the week though, it got up to this key line and then rejected, but it wasn't like a high school rejection. It was just a little rejection, so that's okay. So right now we have another amalgamation of lines here. We have this gap from 1842 all the way to this 1850.9 key level that is it's going to have to work through, and then underneath we've got this 9MA. So it's in just kind of a spot here until it gets below the 9MA, and then we'll see what happens. Or if it gets above this area, then I think it'll start to squeeze above 1850.9. Let's see. This is silver. Silver is potentially a flag. So if you were watching me on Twitch, I was bemoaning the fact that I had bought it at 21.4, and then it basically went all the way to 2160 something, and then just went right back down as I watched it go back down, and I kept holding it. So it was just at 21.4x whatever when I was on the Twitch channel. But anyway, decided to hold it overnight. It went lower, of course it did, but then it went way higher, so yay. However, it did not close above this black line. This black line is super important. It goes way back when. It goes from November of 2019 all the way up. So it is superty ooperty important. See this, how it couldn't get above, and now it sliced through, back tested. So if it can get above 21.75, I think it's really super bullish, even though it's still below all these MAs and everything. I just think that's a really good sign. However, if it can't, then that's not a good sign. So we have to look at both sides of things. I'm going to remain bullish as long as it is above 20.39. I think we have a shot. That is probably lowballing it. Really, below 20.59 is no bueno. But I'll be looking for areas to buy if it comes in here again. I'll try it again. Why not? It's silver. Let's go. Let's look at oil. Okay, so oil, if you look at this chart, it does not look bearish at all. So what is wrong with me that I'm feeling a little bearish for this week? Well, here's why. Because it had a lot of time to consolidate. It's been crazy, crazy consolidation here, but yet it still couldn't get above this resistance for the longest time. I kept saying, well, didn't make it above though. Didn't make it above though. Then it made it above and it couldn't hold it. Now it did, however, hold this line here. So that is good. It's closed pretty much flat for 3 weeks in a row. And I'm not saying that it's bearish overall. I think it's probably super bullish overall, but I am looking for it to come back down and fill this gap. And the sooner that happens, I think the more bullish it'll be. So we'll have to see. Basically, I'm going to try and get short if it gets above this 115.36. My other option is to look for an area in here where I think it's sort of maxed out and try it that way. But it's not at all a bearish thing here. This is counter trending. So I gave you specifications in the Substack of what I'm going to do here. But yeah, I'm liking this for short term anyway, a little bit down. Now, we'll have to see if it can get below this key level, because last week we perfectly backtested it again. So below there, and I'll have a lot more confidence short term. All right, now let's look at XOP, or oil equities. Okay, so last week we continued this bull flaggy like structure. So for this week, as long as it's above 133.93, it is bullish. But it is below the 9MA here, so it has to get above 138.47 to look like it's going to break out. So it has not yet broken out, but it remains in the bullish territory. However, if it gets below 125.19, then I think that is short term, not bullish. That would be the 20MA. It should bounce off of there, but it's already come back down to test this line. So we'll see what happens, but that's the area to watch this week is 125.19. If you are a bull, you want that to hold. Below that, no bueno. This back into the channel here. So we'll have to see. Let's look at Natty. Okay, with Natty, what I did this week, the most interesting thing is I took this triangle I had drawn before and I just pasted it onto, exactly copied, pasted onto the top of this. And it's just a beautiful show of how slopes are respected by these algos over and over again. So we're still consolidating here. A daily breakout would be above 8.212, and then it would probably go all the way up to this 8.656 because it's cuckoo volatile right now. However, if it cannot hold this, if it can't get above this triangle and gets below it at 7.607, then potentially I think it's going to come down here into the high sixes. High sixes, yes. Because that basically that 7.60 and that 7.57 sort of acting together. So yeah, we'll see. All right, that's my plan there. And then Tesla, which I'll post on Twitter if it's doing anything interesting, but for now, it's just, I drew a new line. Who does? But anyway, this 650, I'll need to draw it in. The 650 horizontal level is important, though. Very important. Burned into my brain. But I'll be watching this new line. Let me put it for you on this. Okay. So on Monday, it needs to hold 636. But let's be real. I don't want it to go all the way down there. So anyway, but that's it for Monday. All right, that's it. I made myself big. I hope the second time was as good as the first. I kind of don't think it was, but that's okay. Anyway, I hope you're going to have a great week, and I'll talk to you soon. Okay, bye.